the APNIC Member Meeting for the afternoon session. We have the reports from various meetings and SIGs throughout this week. So I'd like to invite Andy Linton. Andy, where is he? Andy, not here. Wow. Okay. Now, if so, maybe Toshio here. All right. Let me change the order of the presentation. I directly invite Toshio Tachibana, who is the chair, actually newly appointed chair of the NIR-SIG, to deliver his report from the NIR-SIG. Please, Toshio.
Oh, Andy's here.
Andy here. Oh.
Up to you. Yeah, you first.
Okay, all right. Then, let me introduce Andy Linton. Or maybe I don't need any introduction, but please, your report from Policy SIG.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I was out of the room there. The APNIC Policy SIG report from the Open Policy Meeting. I've got the clicker here. They wouldn't let me have this during the meeting. There are a number of items that we dealt with. We had a couple of reports from the Secretariat, with one on the previous policy implementations for previous policies that have been passed. We had a report about policy documentation. The main thrust of that is that there is one policy document. There will be one policy document containing all the material about IPv4, IPv6, ASNs, and so on, rather than have it scattered in a number of different documents. We also had a good discussion on community consultation, electronic consensus measurement, and there was quite a lot of thought went into that about what we mean by consensus, which is always an interesting thought, and about different ways to help us measure that for both the people in the room when we have the meeting or the people involved remotely, trying to increase the remote participation to widen the scope of our discussion. We looked at 3 policy proposals. Proposal 109, which was about allocating 2 address blocks to APNIC Labs as research prefixes, and also designating a third prefix as Anycast to support DNS infrastructure. And the third proposal was one about request-based expansion of the IPv6 default allocation size. So just in detail on those reports, the Secretariat reported on Prop 105, which was our previous, from a previous SIG. Distribution of returned IPv addresses. That policy has been ratified all the way through, but it can't actually be implemented until the global policy trigger happens with IANA. So basically our message is once we get the addresses from IANA, we'll be getting those out to members where they need them and want them. We also had a policy proposal about AS number transfer policy. That will be implemented in the middle of April. That policy will sort of hold until someone else has a policy that matches this so we can actually transfer policies to them. And there was a change to the APNIC policy development process, which was implemented on the 19th of February 2014, which, as Adam pointed out during the session, was the 10th anniversary of the original policy proposal. So we actually worked with the same policy proposal, or policy process document for exactly 10 years. And the policy manual update, that will be, second draft will be posted to the mailing list. And of course, Adam would appreciate comments on that once it goes through. Yeah, I've sort of covered this already, but quickly, replace or complement the traditional show of hands. improve on the current chat facility, and try and make a level playing field for remote participants who probably are disadvantaged in a number of ways. They're not in the room, and it's harder for their voice to be heard. We had 3 proposals which talked about, so we considered 3 proposals. Now this proposal was one that I recused myself from, so I'm going to let Masato, who chaired the session, tell us about this one.
Okay, proposal 110 proposed designating 1.2.3.0/24 as ANICAS to support DNS infrastructure. And I decide it leads to consensus in the meeting, but let me explain the reason why, because there are some opposed, there are some opposition, and also there are a few strong opposition in the policy succession, but I decided it is reached consensus. Mainly, I have 3 reasons to do so. First one is APNIC is actually receiving this kind of request continuously, so it is ongoing issue, and not issue. It is ongoing request. And second one is 2 points. I think 2 points are raised in the discussion as disadvantage of this proposal, but from the discussion, what I catched up from the discussion was these 2 issues can be mitigated by user of this address space. And third one is since this proposal is quite simple, so I could not expect further improvement, even though I will push back this one to the mailing list. So from these 3 reasons, I decide it leads to the consensus at the OPM.
Thank you for that, Masato. Now, at this stage, normally, there's another slide. Oh. So at this stage, I hand this to Akinori-san to put this in front of you.
All right. Thank you very much, Andy and Masato. So that's our job as a membership at the APNIC member meeting to confirm the consensus from the policy SIG. Next slide, please, I think. No? All right, okay. To be back to the first proposal which got the consensus before that. Oh?
No.
No?
I think that's all. That's as much as we have for.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No. How about 109?
Oh, they're coming. They're coming. Yeah. The normal.
Okay. Yes. Well, then no, I can start with the 110, right? Okay. All right. I am now seeking the your consensus for the Prop 110. Designate 1.2.3.0/24 as ANICAS to support DNS infrastructure. So in a moment, I will ask you whether you support this proposal or you oppose this proposal. Then I will call you, ask you to raise your hand 2 times for which your intention is. Well, okay, here we go. Please raise your hand if you support this proposal. Please raise your hand. Proposal 110. If you support this proposal, raise your hand, please. Higher, please. Give me the number. No count. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Please raise your hand if you oppose this proposal. Okay, thank you very much. Then I observed that quite comparable number of the hands raised for this proposal. Then I cannot deem this as the consensus. Thank you. Next, please. That's all. Okay.
Okay, so the second proposal we considered, Prop 109, was to allocate these two prefixes 1.0.0.0/24 and 1.1.0/24 to APNIC Labs as research prefixes. These prefixes have been used extensively in sort of illegally and in bad ways, and they're not suitable for allocation, and the consensus that we reached was that this was a proposal we should pass forward to you.
Okay.
And I'll leave it to you.
All right. Then consensus call for the Prop 109 to allocate 1.0.0.0/24 and 1.1.1.0/24 to APNIC Labs as research prefixes. Okay, just the same manner. I will ask you for raising hand. The first I ask you for the supporter, and then ask you if you oppose. Please raise your hand if you support this policy proposal. Thank you. Please raise your hand if you oppose this proposal. Okay, there's no hands observed for the opposition. Then I can deem this proposal reached the consensus at AMM. Thank you very much.
And the other proposal that we had didn't reach consensus at the meeting, and the author is going to reconsider, and perhaps we may see another proposal based on the material there. So that's our report.
Right. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Maz.
Let me clarify why I oppose to the proposal 110, because it's creating a new security risk. Once the broadband router shipped with a default setting that DNS resolver 1, 2, 3, 4, if there's no DNS server maintained by ISP, probably it's query to the DNS server in the internet. And sometimes it's maintained by the good guy, but sometimes it could be maintained by bad boy. Right? So that's why I oppose the proposal. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Andy. All right, next. Thank you very much. Come up to hear Toshio again. He's now delivering you the NIRC report.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Toshio Tachiba, the NIRC chair. We have two co-chairs, Jessica and AJ, but they couldn't come here today to this conference due to some reasons. I will report for that. We have a session at this Tuesday on this week. About 35 participants. Thank you for coming to our session. So we have two agendas. One is the action item from the APNIC 36. Also, we have an NIR report from the JP, Japan, India, and Taiwan. I report the discussion result of the action item from APNIC, proposal of the future of NIRC. As a result, we reached a consensus about the keep the session as a SIG format in session. Also, the proposal was withdrawn by proposer. Therefore, SIG guideline is not changed at this time. I short report from each update. From JPNIC, they had 113 cases for the IPv4 transfer since August 2011. Also, they have a plan for the RPKI for work in progress, estimated release data between January and March on next year. An update from India. So the 6 out of top 10 websites are done or IPv6 already. Also, the Nixie is going to the co-host and Sanog 2014 and ARIGF 2014 at Hyderabad. And also the Rajesh will talking about this session later. From TWNIC, they hold 2 big events for the deployment IPv6. And also they launched or provide the IPv6 virtual lab services. These services are using for everyone. Also, the cost is no needed. It's free. That's all from me. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Question or comments? Thank you very much, Tochigo. All right, next report from the meetings is from Shyam Nair for the PPAC, Public Policy Advisory Committee, which he chaired. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable members of the Executive Councils and members of the community, very good afternoon. My name is Shyam Nair. I'm the co-chair of Public Policy Advisory Committee Work Group. I'm here to present the third session report to AMM. Before I proceed with an update, for the benefit of the audience, I would like to give a quick introduction of PPAC. PPAC is a forum introduced in APNIC to discuss on public policy issues to foster sustainability, security stability, and development of the internet. It aims to facilitate exchange of information and best practices as well as strengthen and enhance the engagement of stakeholders in the existing as well as future internet policy developments. So now I'll just give you a small update of the session details. Session was held on 26 Feb. 90-minute session was attended by 35 participants around. Agenda covered introduction and update along with the interactive discussion on topics related to internet. A quick recap on the last 2 sessions. It is decided in the first meeting in Singapore to hold PPAC session every APNIC meeting. As per the objective of PPAC, PPAC would work with an aim to have an outreach program for a wider engagement of government from different communities. There was a discussion at Singapore to have a subcommittee to work the charter for PPAC. Accordingly, subcommittee was formed. Subcommittee have provided the recommendation. Recommendation was presented in the last APNIC meeting. There's a consensus arrived. Chair PPAC Naveen Tandon presented the charter recommendation provided and provided additional time in the last APNIC AMM for the members to respond if there is any comments. Now I'll highlight some of the key recommendations made by the subcommittee. PPAC mission statement is to encourage the exchange of information and dialogue between APNIC and ICT public policy developers within Asia Pacific region. PPAC should be multi-stakeholder advisory committee. Structure should have an elected chair and at least one co-chair to ensure that all the values and principles to be maintained. Appointment and term of the chair and co-chair will be similar to that of policy chair. Forum should engage representatives from government agencies, intergovernmental agencies, and civil society, and from different economies. Now, as per the practice, we have just took regional updates. We have got a regional update from India. Dr. Govind shared the policy development of India and the initiative which underway within the government in consultancy with the industry. He emphasized that for the growth of internet, it requires that diverse stakeholders to play a respective role in collaboration with each other. PPAC can work in that direction by developing the forum into a more vibrant medium of discussion. The next slide, there's a presentation from Rajesh Charia. He is ISP President, ISP Association of India President. Discussed about the need of internet governments and multi-stakeholderism. He had updated on the APR IGF meeting this year, which is going to come in India. Emphasized that equal voice of all stakeholders needs to be addressed, heard, and implemented. There was presentation on critical internet resources from Naresh Ajwani. During the interactive discussion, it was discussed how there are few discussions from the participants also, and some of them have informed that some of the government agencies not open in many economies. Few economies where government only consult but not engage industry stakeholders. Mr. Naresh Ajwani emphasized on good practices, especially on the resource side, irrespective of infinite or scarce, where usage should be optimum. Also recommended to have a provision of funding for outreach program for better participation of all economies in the discussion process of APNIC. Next, we had a very interesting discussion held that day, which was topic of ISP profitability and user affordability. Mr. Manoj Mishra from Cable and Wireless explained how to balance both. Informed about the challenges facing by both service provider as well as user. He had rightly explained that only a proper policy can address the profitability and affordability challenges. PPAC should develop a white paper. As per him, he has recommended that. Should develop a white paper by taking best practices of other economies, which can be discussed in the next PPAC session. While summing up, Mr. Brijesh Jain had a discussion and urged that service discipline, fair governance, and user privacy are very important factors to enable widespread internet, safe internet, and which would then the safe internet which would then become acceptable at all. Defining the role of PPAC to steer in that direction. A way forward. We have mentioned what is way forward in the last session also. Now this time we have got two recommendations. As recommended during the interactive discussion, working group would work with the community to develop study papers on profitability and affordability. This was one of the recommendation came during the discussion. Another discussion or another recommendation was to make a study paper on best practices on the distribution of critical internet resources. Now the working group would continue to have PPAC session, would send charter recommendation which was approved by the member community. The last PPAC session will be sent to the EC for approval and advice. After EC endorsement, next PPAC would elect chair and co-chair as the proposed guidelines, as per the proposed guidelines of the charter. Coordinate with other economies to invite more representatives for the session. Our aim is to have at least one representative from each economy in the Asia Pacific region. This is a useful link where you can actually join PPAC discussion and you can join the mailing list. And if you want to view the discussions happen so far, you can see this mailing list. And there is a contact details of chair as well as co-chair. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All right. Thank you very much.
Rajesh Charya. My suggestion, no questions, that as we have discussed into the earlier session about the outreach program and bringing government and the semi-government into the mainstream of the APNIC, so that along with the technical policy, we should be able to discuss about the internet policy also. This is a very good platform, and as suggested by the PPAC group, that we should be funding this group for bringing the government into the mainstream. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brajesh Jain, I would urge the PPAC to look at the, out of the two, the third point as whether white paper or whatever, for security considerations, so that it is safe internet for all, which increases trust of the internet user. Thank you.
Thank you for the suggestion. Okay.
Point?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Then next speaker is sorry, okay, Rajacharya. Because he is now he is soon departing from here. That let's have his word for the welcoming to Asia Pacific region. IGF.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon. No reports, nothing, just an invitation for the APR-IGF 2014 along with SANOG, which was earlier happening in Hyderabad, now shifted due to some unavoidable circumstances to Delhi. The Delhi venue is very near, around 40 kilometers from airport. That's called the India Expo, Greater Noida, NCR town of Delhi. I will request. Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm not going to discuss anything about the internet governance or any network operators group issues, because already from since morning we are discussing a lot. After the global multi-stakeholder meeting on internet governance in Sao Paulo, and before the main IGF, this platform will be a very good platform for the discussion, so that we should take our views to the main IGF. For the South Asia Network Operators Group, the hand-on experience by the expertise of the international expertise will be a very good thing. One thing I must announce, that here, along with the APR IGF, we are also doing the Youth IGF. And this time, the Youth IGF is not about the Youth IGF only. We are going to celebrate this as a youth festival, so that the students and the youth who are going to use this internet in future can be able to understand about the policy. The NICSI has decided to sponsor 30 students except India from all over the Asian Pacific region to attend this event of APR IGF in India. And we, with the help of the .Asia, is going to select the students from the other economy, not from India. And from India, we are going to call the students from with a different reason. In Greater Noida is very famous for the Formula One track and is also very famous for the golf. And if anyone is interested in Formula One race and golf, they will enjoy a lot. The Greater Noida is on the very newly built express highway connecting Delhi to Agra, the, I will say, 6th or 7th wonder of the world, with a very high speed road which takes to Agra in hardly 1.5 hours. So that was my presentation and that was my invitation. I will invite all through this APRICOT and APNIC for coming to India. You are most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rajesh. All right, back to the meeting reports. From APIX, I'd like to invite Chief Chen to deliver the report. Thank you.
Okay. I'll do a very quick report.
To be quick.
Which one? Oh, this one. Okay. Okay. I'm on the board of APIX. I'm going to deliver a very short report about APIX, Asia Pacific Internet Exchange. APIX is an association of internet exchange providers in Asia Pacific region. We are just like EuroIX in Europe, although we are much smaller. Our objectives is to share information about technical, operational, business issues and solutions regarding internet exchanges. And as of now, we have 16 members from over the region. We have members from Bangladesh, Hong Kong, Japan, Korea, Indonesia, India, Malaysia, Nepal, New Zealand, Singapore, Vietnam, and the regional IXs. And we also see other IXs in the region which show their interest to join. And we hope to get more members. And if you are running an IX or is planning to running an IX, you are welcome to join us. Before the meeting we held last Sunday, we had 3 members on the steering committee, Toyama-san from JPNAP, me as secretary from Hong Kong, HKX, and Rafael Ho, who is the treasurer from APNIC, and Toyama-san is our chair. And we had 2 seats vacant. So, well, so that's why we held the election at our meeting. And this is our meeting history. We held our 9th meeting last Sunday, and we had representatives from 14 ISPs, 14 members, a very high number compared with the previous meetings. And the total number of attendees is 50 people. These are the attendees. We also have attendees from other IXPs in the other regions, especially Europe, and also one from Latin America. We use this platform to exchange knowledge and information, and we're also glad to have our EuroIX and NetIX to be present at our meeting. And in terms of potential patrons, we have APNIC, Alcatel-Lucent, and Brocade. In our agenda, we spend quite a big amount of time in the technical part. So we had sessions related to various technical issues which are all relevant to our operations, including like how to reduce our outages, how to do migration to a new platform, and new technologies for IXs, best practices. And we also have presentation on a very interesting organization, OpenIX in US, because the OpenIX is not IX, is an association, but their members are individuals, not like us. Our members are IXPs. Very interesting setup. And we also have ISOC to present their IXP program, especially for helping the IXP set up in the region. And we also receive updates from our members and other IXPs in other region. And we also have updates from the IX Federation. I'll talk more about that. And but anyway, my observation is that we had fewer presentations from our own region this time compared with last time. But I hope maybe in the next meeting we need to give some incentive to our members to do presentation, especially like the updates. And I myself from HKIX, I definitely will do an updates for HKIX because we are now undergoing a major upgrade, and I think we can share our experience and painful process to our members. The last part is relating to the admin session. We did steering committee election, and gladly we have successfully filled up all our vacant seats, and we have new steering committee members, Gareth from NPIX, and also Brian Kim from King's Korea. And this is a photo of all 5 of us. And congratulations to both Gareth and Brian. And our next meeting will be co-located with APNIC 38 again. We did all our meetings together with APNIC because we had very good support from APNIC. And we encourage IXPs in the region to participate in our association, our meeting, and this is our contact. And for IXPs in other regions, we hope they can contribute to us by joining us as associate members. And of course, we need sponsors. We call them patrons. We welcome them to join us also to contribute to our activities. And last thing I want to mention is we thank APNIC especially for their support, especially on the venue and also the election support. They are very, very generous. Many thanks to APNIC. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Then we will have the 2 reports from BOFs. And they are both very interesting. First BOF report is from IPv4 leasing BOF from Dean Pemberton, who chaired this BOF.
Thank you, EC. So yeah, we held the IP leasing BOF. There have been a lot of questions on the mailing list about IP leasing, and I've even more questions behind the scenes about what that even meant and what impacts it might have on current policy. So we thought we'd hold a BOF and try and get all of these questions out in the open. Maybe we could find some answers, maybe we couldn't, but there was at least trying to find out a little bit of a way forward. So I came up with 3 questions, and the BOF, had I think what we'd call elongated, spirited discussion about these. So the questions were: is IP leasing the same sort of activity we do today? So we all undertake some activities today to do with IP addresses. Is the concept of IP leasing the same as any one of them, or is it something completely different? Do we need policy changes to support this desired behavior? And another question that came out was, does IP leasing equate to a justified need for IP addresses the same way that handing them out to customers would? So just before we go on, I am not a lawyer, but there was one in the room. And that was actually really useful, right? Because the minute we start talking about these new things, maybe it's like leasing a shop, maybe it's like leasing a car, and it was really helpful to have that sort of input into what actually leasing looked like. So thanks, Craig. You've got your own acronym now. All right. So is IP leasing the same sort of activity that we do today? Yeah, not really. It doesn't actually look like a transfer, and we spoke at length about what transfers were, and it kind of didn't fit into that, and it didn't really look like an allocation either. There were some differences around that, but there was clear demand for something which looked like IP leasing, and we heard from one of the IP brokers that they get approached all the time for things which look like leasing and don't look like transfers and don't look like allocations. We observed that the term is overloaded and that it's not well defined. So that was the answer to that question. That was clearly a good outcome, to actually draw that out and find it. So as we saw from Jeff yesterday, the international symbol for good outcome is a graph going up and to the right. So I'd like to present that now. The second question, do we need to change policy to support IP leasing? What sort of policies might we need to change that we already have, or what sort of policies might we need to develop? And we just don't understand enough yet about what IP leasing even means. I mean, it's far too early to start asking those sorts of questions. So a watching brief on policy, but as we'll see later on, we do need to define a little bit more about IP leasing. So the graph for that clearly looks like this. IP leasing is justified need. If you have a need to allocate IP addresses out to customers and all that, you come to the hostmasters, tell them about that need, and they make a decision about your allocation based on that. If I come to the hostmasters and say my need is actually to lease a whole lot of addresses out to someone else that has a need, is that as justified? And we found out that hostmasters do not currently consider I need a /22 in order to lease it out as a justified need. It's also not seen as a justified need in terms of transfers. If someone were to want to receive an address and come for a pre-allocation, their willingness to immediately lease that back out again would not be seen as a justified need. And depending on how we handle these issues, it may have an effect on the Aaron transfers need thing. So if we all of a sudden started to think of it as a justified need, that may have wider issues. I'm not a lawyer. So clearly that graph looks like this. Next steps. I couldn't work out a graph for this, so we kind of get one that looks like this. Well, it's pity Jeff's not here. All right, more work is needed to define the types of activities which might constitute leasing. A really interesting part of the BOF was when one person said, I came into this room expecting you to be talking about long-term leases. And I found out that there's these short-term ones as well. And someone else said, yeah, well, I was always thinking in terms of a short-term lease. I couldn't understand why someone would want a 20-year lease. Isn't that the same as owning it? We clearly need to do some more thinking about the breadth of this issue, some more thinking about the needs-based. We need to decide as a community what we need to see in the registry. Do we want to see the leasee, the leaseor? What does it mean for the leasee to be in there if they're not a member, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And we need to decide what policy we need to fulfill those goals, but only after we've done a lot more work in actually defining them. Questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dean. Comment or questions? If not, okay, sure. we move on to the next BOF. BOF report from Shan Shun-sen from the IPv6 readiness measurement BOF. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shen Zhongzhen. I'm the chair of the IPv6 Readiness Measurement Board. And it's my pleasure to have the opportunity to introduce the current status of the IPv6 Readiness Measurement Board. The first IPv6 Readiness Measurement Board was held in the last APNIC meeting in Xi'an, and we invited speakers from APNIC, TWNIC, CNIC, Japan, and New Zealand. After the first BOF meeting, we have held the IPv6 Readiness Measurement Workshop in Taiwan Global IPv Summit last December, and we have invited six speakers, including George Michelson from APNIC, Professor Xin Chang from Thailand, and Fujizaki-san from Japan NTT, and Jaja from Kisa, Korea, as well as Ajay from India. And then on this January, we launched the mailing list and the website of this board. The second IPv6 Readiness Measurement Board was held in this Wednesday afternoon and co-hosted with AP IPv6 Task Force. I'd like to thank all the speakers, and I'd like to give my special thanks to Jeff and Miwa for their help and the support. And this board meeting was pretty much successful. There were more than 16 attendants. Let me briefly introduce the presentations in this board meeting. There are 8 reports. I'd like to divide all the reports into 4 different kind of types. The first part is related to the IPv6 deployment measurement. And first of all, I give a brief current status report, as well as summarize all the previous presentation documents about the IPv6 readiness measurement. And Shisha Suchi Yang from Cisco, she remotely participated in this board meeting and briefly described the results of the Cisco IPv6 deployment statistics from the point of view of Cisco. And the second part is related to the measurement for network. And Kaven Raja from RIPE NCC described the architecture of the RIPE Atlas and introduced the usefulness of the RIPE Atlas prop systems. And then Christian Kaufman from Akama described the analysis result of the internet interconnection density in IPv6 compared to IPv4. He also introduced the importance of the internet latency issue. And the third part is related to the measurement for user availability. Jeff restated the importance of the approach of the from outside to inside. That is utilize the massively popular websites such as Google. We can easily investigate the user ability from the outside to look at what happened inside. So Jeff also described the results of the Google index. And the fourth part is about the measurement report from different countries. Fujizaki-san from NTT gave an update of the Japan IPv6 measurement, including a lot of the measurement criteria, such as density, penetration rate, user availability, service availability, as well as the product availability, which is based upon the number of the IPv6 ready logo phase 2 products. And Ma Yan from China gave a presentation about the China IPv6 measurement, as well as the big events happened in the last year. It's a very informative presentation. And Chan from VNAN NIC. We talk about the VNAN IPv6 measurement, as well as one Yunnan national IPv6 deployment program. And this program will utilize the 16 measurement IPv6 measurement criteria in his talk. What's it? Okay. And this slide shows the mailing list of the IPv6 readiness measurement. If you are interested, please join our mailing list and visit the website. And the next slide shows the IPv6 readiness measurement website. On the left upper part of this figure is the IPv6 readiness measurement of website, and the other include the APNIC website, RIPE NCCM's website, and the Cisco website. I'd like to briefly classify all of the measurement criteria into 4 different kinds of categories. And the first category is a network category, including the network latency criteria, network traffic criteria, and the IPv6 allocation, the BGP advisement criteria. And the second category is the service category, including the service such as the web DNS email, availability of the CCTLD, and the DNS query to CCTLD criteria. And the third category is a user. User is about the user availability criteria. And the fourth one is the product criteria. We can use the number of the IPv6 ready logo, phase 2 certified product. We can easily find that we have 3 common measurement criteria among all of these measurement criteria. So let me briefly introduce the first one, common measurement criteria. That's the IPv6 allocation, the BGP advertisement. We propose to use the percentage of the AS that announce IPv6 prefix and the source code from RIPE NCC. And the second one is the user availability. And the user availability, we want to propose to use the Google and the APNIC data. And the third one is the service availability. We propose to use the DNS records of each country to check the availability of the web DNS or mail. And we also have built up the platform to collect the data from every CCTLD. To make it simple, make the readiness measurement simple and easy to understand, I'd like to decompose the process of the IPv6 readiness measurement into 3 steps. The first step is a consensus building. We collect all of the measurement criteria, and we can find the common criteria. As you can see, up to now we have 3 different kinds of the common criteria. And these common criteria will be reviewed and updated periodically. And according to the common criteria, we can build up the data acquisition system, and then we can do some post-processing, such as the data analysis and data visualization. So I'd like to conclude my presentation. 3 common measurement criteria has been proposed, and more other criteria have also been proposed for some specific requirements. And the data acquisition prototype has been demonstrated and will be continuously enhanced. Any comment is welcome. And we hope more discussion can be proceeded through the above platform, and the data analysis and visualization will be further development by the measurement analysis working group. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? No? All right. Thank you very much. Okay. After that, we only have the ending sequence. Then I'd like to take this opportunity for another open microphone time slot. If you have any point you wanna wait to this APNIC member meeting? Please feel free to go up to the microphone. Toshio is coming up.
I am Toshio Tachibana as the NRC chair. First of all, thank you for a lot of working for the local organizer. We don't have a very time shortly after the decided the venue was changed. Thank you very much. However, this decision was too late, I guess, I think, because NRC has two co-chair. One co-chair whose name is Jessica couldn't come here because of visa issues, and she can't get enough time for getting the visa. Please decision earlier if you consider about the venue will be changed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good point to raise. Actually, the decision to move the whole meeting to the Kuala Lumpur was really tough decision, and yes, we recognize this is too late, and some people are missed by this late decision, but still we actually had really expected to have the meeting in Bangkok. But this is we think that it's a really good case for the later consideration in the decision to take.
Yeah, Toshio again. I understand for the situation at this time, but I want to record it for this stage for the. Where within the Asian Pacific countries has a different condition for the traveling to another country, such as a visa or something. So that's only the comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Point taken. I think we have around 30 participants in remotely. Then, if we have, do we have any comments or question from the remote participant? Okay. All right. Anything missed from the Executive Council? No. All right. Okay. Then, all right. Move on to the ending sequence. So I'd like to pass the floor to Paul Wilson to do that. Thank you.
Here's where I take the chance to thank all of the sponsors who helped us here with the APNIC meeting. It helps a little bit that the APRICOT sponsors, the long list of APRICOT sponsors were all thanked yesterday. So this is a shorter list, and it is just for those who've helped us with the APNIC part of this event. So once again, the event wouldn't be possible without the support that we've received, and we really do want to make sure that we give due recognition to the people who come to our support. So that starts with, for the Women in ICT event, the Network Startup Resource Centre and our friends at PH Colo. So thanks very much to Judith and to the representatives of NSRC for the Women in ICT event. Thanks. Now, I understand that event, by the way, was not as well attended as it could have been, and people may have not realised that it actually is an open event. Both genders and anyone else is welcome to be there. And so next time we'll make that clearer, because it really was, I know, a fantastic event. Really, a really nice thing on our program. For today, we have 5 NIRs who come together and make a contribution to cover the costs for today. So
Thanks. Put your hands together, please, for CN Nick, Kisa, Nixie, JP Nick, and TW Nick. And for the closing dinner tonight, Judith again, PH Colo, thank you, and also friends at APCHI, thank you. So more thanks to many volunteers, the SIG chairs, Andy and Masato, Toshio, Jessica and AJ, Naveen and Chiam for help with the sessions, the SIGs, the BOFs and so on. The APNIC EC and staff, our colleagues from across the world who've come from other RARs and also from other companies as well, Nikki and Helen, steno captioners, and everyone who participated both here and remotely online. Thank you so much for your support. And I think that's it for thanks, and we'll move straight on to the next conference. I think it's well known by now that we really unfortunately couldn't come to New Caledonia as planned because of logistics and things. So by agreement with the with OPT, the hosts, we decided that we needed to pull back because of the fixed rotation of the meetings which we're going to have now, and in view of the timing, the EC's decided that we'd be pulling the meeting back to Brisbane in Australia. In fact, it's a little shorter trip for many people who would have had to come through Brisbane anyway. So I really hope that that you won't be inconvenienced. I do want to thank the folks in New Caledonia for all the work that they did in preparation, and it's really unfortunate we couldn't be there, but another time for sure. So in about 6 months' time, 9th to the 19th of September, it will be at a hotel called the Pullman in right by King George Square in central Brisbane, and all the details are going to be coming your way very soon. So certainly hope to see you all, both whether you're in the room or online or watching this later on the webcast. I hope we'll have a great meeting for APNIC 38 in Brisbane. We've got just some more upcoming events to mention. Of course, we have APRICOT every year, so in 1 year's time we'll all be in Fukuoka for a big bang with APAN 39. APAN 39, APNIC 39, APRICOT 2015 in February next year. But APNIC is also these days hosting these smaller regional or sub-regional meetings, and we've got one in Southeast Asia, Philippines, coming up in March, one in South Asia, in Bangladesh, coming up in May, and we'll probably have a couple more of those during the year. So again, coming somewhere near you, I hope, in the next 12 months will be some more events with technical content, with training, with updates and so on. So we'll really look forward to those meetings, and anyone who's interested in being involved with suggesting one of these meetings in future can certainly come and get in touch. So I think that's all from me, apart from to say see you in my hometown, and APNIC's hometown these days, that's Brisbane. See you then, thanks.
All right, thank you very much, Sunny, to come up to ask for housekeeping notice.
Yes, I got just one announcement to make. This is regarding the closing dinner. It's as Paul mentioned, it's sponsored by, partly sponsored by APG and PH Colo, but it's at the Pyramid Shopping Center where we had dinner last night. It's just one door next to the to Mantra restaurant. It's called O Viet. It's a Vietnamese restaurant, and the dinner is starts at 6 o'clock, and we meet in the lobby of this hotel at 5:45 p.m. and there'll be some staff assisting you to the location if you're not familiar with it. I believe if you have marked to attend the dinner, you would have received a small ticket in your pouch. Please bring the ticket and hand it over to the staff at the restaurant. So see you at dinner, and thank you very much for the Executive Council board members.
Thank you very much, Sunny. And okay, I think that's all for the today's business. And I had some requests from the network team that I should mention that the meeting network is soon down after the session is over. So please please mindful for that. But you still have a hotel network. Then I think that's all. Thank you very much everyone for coming and join this AMM business. See you in Brisbane, if not in this closing dinner. The APNIC member meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.